definite answers. Okay, so it's only for the common man, the men with ordinary intellect. They can have answers of a definite pattern. But for intellectuals, for critical thinkers, for philosophers, there is no final answer, a definite answer to these questions. So yesterday we discussed all this. Now today, in the second unit, we have to look into the philosophy of human person and its relation to various other philosophical disciplines. Okay, that is the purpose today. Now you see, yesterday I was saying one more thing while discussing who am I. We came up with the position of Gabriel Marcel, who says human person is a mystery. Why human person is a mystery? Because our understanding concerning what a human person is limited. It is not conclusive. It is not definite. It is not exhaustive. Okay, it is not final. It is not complete. It is not binding. So that is the position that we arrived at during the discussion of the last class. Now, that means in the philosophical enterprise, the fundamental questions have no complete definitions or no exhaustive definitions. What we can only have is a sort of response to the question. And these responses with time they improve. The standards improve. Okay. With improving standards, the responses also get modified as the time passes by. Now, now again, if we focus on the original question, who am I? It is a very difficult question. You see, fundamental questions are very difficult. Okay, that's why many times people say understand the fundamentals first, because those who are clear with the fundamentals, they can do anything. So now this is a fundamental question. Why I say fundamental question? When I say what is a table, so I can say this is a table because I have some external relation with the table. But when I say who am I am the part and parcel of that question. I am questioning who am I. You see, the question involves my own personality. When talking about a table or an object outside, there is an object outside whose definition I have to provide. But linking to the question, who am I? I am a part of that mystery. You see, the very idea of human person is a mystery. Remember this, as Marshall has said, and we are a part of the mystery that we are going to solve. So human person is a mystery, and we are a part of that mystery that we are going to solve. And this again makes the question still more difficult. So we have a goal in mind to define what a human person is, or who is a human person, or who am I. So as I said, we have a goal. There is no final answer, just there are responses. Okay, and the responses they enrich with time. Okay, so a distinction. Okay, maybe in the examination you may be asked, what is the difference between a response and a question? You see, what is the difference between a response and an answer? When you talk of an answer, you see, the answer has a certain sort of finality, a certain sort of certainty. But when you say response, response is something that is based on the context, the situation, and the available understanding. Whatever you see, yesterday also I said you, every understanding is self-understanding. So whatever may be your self-understanding, based on that self-understanding, you will have your response. And this response is not final. So that is how an answer is different from a response. Okay. Why? One more point that I say is, so the basic difference is answer is an answer because that is final, that is definite, that is conclusive. But response is a response It is only a step in the advancement of one's knowledge. It is only a response is only a step in the advancement of knowledge. And the process of knowledge goes on, goes on, goes on. The search goes on, goes on, goes on. And there is a refinement in the response in time. So this is how a response differs from an answer. So this is how you can because this is a question. Why I took this? Because this is a question that has been shaped in the material itself. Okay, that's why I took this puja. Okay, now, and one more difference we can find out is a response is a very humble one. Response is a very humble one. When you talk of an answer, when you say it is final, a sort of ego, a sort of say what to say, a sort of imposition is attached when you talk of an answer because you are saying that it's final. A sort of imposition, a sort of since a sort of finality is attached to an answer, it is a sort of imposition. But when you talk of a response, it is very humble. Why it is humble? Because the response is a response to a situation, to a context, and it knows this is a response only in relation to the context, and it may change any time, and it can bring in further refinement. So this is how a response is different from a question. Okay, now the scope for refinement in a response makes philosophy. You see, in philosophy, we respond. That's why at this very nature of responding to a query makes philosophy and also life very exciting. Remember this. In philosophy, we respond, and these responses enrich. Okay, enrich. And also in life, our understanding enriches. That means our self understanding enriches. And this makes our life exciting. If you have a final answer, there is no excitement. But we are in a journey, and in the journey, there is always a scope for change, and that brings in a sort of excitement in our lives. Okay, in life as well as philosophy. Now, people say, why do you, I mean, the philosophers, bother about the question, who am I? There are where I have come from, what is my journey, what is the purpose? Why do you raise these questions? There are very various questions concerning human life, concerning human freedom. Say, for instance, even hunger, poverty, okay, torture. So these are various issues. Why don't you focus on those questions and address so that the human life would be better? Somebody is in hunger, somebody is in poverty, and you are asking, who are you? Who am I? So how do your questions in philosophy make these questions relevant? So a definite answer, I don't say a definite answer, a response has been provided that the understanding of the question, the fundamental question, who am I, also is going to resolve all these questions. It is only because we have not understood that we are selves, we are selves. We are not bodies, we are not material bodies, we are spirits. That realization, that understanding, that realization, I say, is lacking. That's why somebody's hunger, somebody's poverty, somebody's pain is not able to influence us, is not able to change us. We are in our own world. We are just, maybe we are just sympathetic. The sense of empathy is not coming. Empathy means when somebody is in pain, you feel the pain personally as if something has happened to you. That point is missing. To be a human person, there needs to be a transition from sympathy to empathy, a change from sympathy to empathy, a transition from I to we. You note this too. To be a human person, there is a need for transition from sympathy to empathy. You say, I'm sympathetic to the case, so I'm a human being. No, sympathy, you're just sympathetic, but you are not empathetic. Empathetic means feeling others' pain, others' problems, others' issues. So that is empathy. You're connected. You're connected with the other. So the other and you, they become one. Okay, that is the thread. And I said yesterday, linking how to connect the other with the thread of love. Okay, yesterday I was speaking that. I was saying that. This is one. There is a shift from sympathy to empathy. And one more thing that I said you is to be a human person. Okay, one good response that comes is there is a need to shift from I to we. There is a need for a shift from I to we. So when there is a move, when there is an expansion of the self from I to we expand to the cosmos. So that is needed. Now, one more thing that is said, whatever hmm, the philosophers, the thinkers, they are more of a theoretical sort, and they are searching for something, a sort of response to certain fundamental questions. So in the process, okay, they are losing the practical ground, the practical issues, the practical concerns, the practical problems. Those things the philosophers are missing somehow, they feel. But somebody in the name of G.K. Chesterton, he said, nothing is more powerful than a good theory. Remember, this question that may come. Nothing is more practical than a good theory. Nothing is more practical. If you have a good theory, that good theory can guide every practical aspect that we come across. But the question is, have we come across that good theory? Philosophy is in search of a theory. It is trying to frame theories, it has theories, but these theories are open. They are not closed. They are not closed. The theories in philosophy, they are not closed. They are open-ended. They are trying for better responses. So Chesterton, he has a very good say, take on the issue that nothing is more practical than a good theory. Once you have a good theory, everything, whatever you say that is practical, can be guided by that theory. So that is the position that G.K. Chesterton has in mind and provides a way to look into this issue. So there is a question also in your module, okay, in this unit. Comment on what do you mean by nothing is more practical than a good theory. Here, what does it mean? Many, okay, some say that the world is having number of problems in the sense, in the sort of poverty, hunger. Many are suffering from various problems, diseases. We should have addressed to those issues first. Okay, they are the real problems, they are the real issues that we should have taken, rather than focusing on the question, who am I? So here where philosophy fails, they feel. But a very beautiful response has been provided by Chesterton, who says nothing is practical, nothing is more practical, no problem, no issue, whatever things that we face, whatever issues, whatever crisis that we come across, whatever problems that we are coming across, practically, yes, practically, they carry a lesser weight if we have a good theory. But what the problem is, we are having a theory, we are having moral theories, but that still cannot be branded as a good theory. Maybe we are in search for a better and better theory, maybe in the sense expanding the very boundaries of a good theory. We are moving on, we are moving on, refining every time, every day. Okay, so that is how we have tried to respond to this assertion, nothing is more practical than a good theory. Now, then the unit again has a concern for oppressive and liberative understanding of human person. So when we talk of human person, one is a oppressive understanding, one is a liberative understanding. So question may come, how is a human understanding, okay, how is the understanding of a human person different in oppressive situations and liberative situations? What does that mean? Or what do you mean by oppressive understanding of human person, and what do you mean by liberative understanding of human person? So Here, let me tell you that when you talk of human person, you see, I said you in the beginning itself that human being is a mystery. We are trying to solve that mystery, and we are a part of that mystery. Please note these three lines. Human person is a mystery. We are trying to solve that mystery, and we are a part of that mystery. So, how difficult is this mystery each? So, try to understand. So, I repeat for the benefit of all, human person is a mystery. We are attempting to resolve the mystery, and we are a part of the mystery that we are trying to solve. And this makes the philosophical enterprise more exciting, more enriching, and more beautiful. And in that context, we talk of oppressive and liberative understanding of human person. You see, I said you, human personality or human person is a mystery, and it has various dimensions, multiple dimensions. Human person has multiple dimensions. But what we do, because there are multiple dimensions, and we being, I don't know, we mind, our mind, I say, when I say we here, I say the mind here is finite, it is limited. It cannot focus on all the dimensions. Some focus on certain dimensions, say ABC. Some focus on dimensions, say DEF. Some focus on XYZ. So there may be multiple dimensions. So different people focus on different dimensions in order to have an understanding of what a human person is. So it is a piecemeal approach because there are multiple dimensions, and we focus only on few dimensions and try to define what is a human person, or to try to respond to the question, who am I? Now that is a sort of oppressive understanding of human person. It is an oppressive understanding of human person. Suppose, let me take one example. Suppose we have individual aspect of a human person, individual aspect of a human person, and the social aspect of a human person. The individual human person as an individual, number one. Number two, human person as someone who is related to the social well-being or the society. Now, some people may take human person as an individual, totally overlooking his relationship to the society. So this is only partial approach. Or somebody may take, say, society as primary, okay, social well-being is primary, and in the process the human being is lost. You see, you are trying for some good, but in the process you are lost. That is also not a good theory. That is also not good theory. So a balance. So it says oppressive understanding is an understanding where there are multiple dimensions. We do not recognize those multiple dimensions. We focus only on few dimensions and try to understand the concept what a human person is. So that is problematic. That sort of approach is a wrong approach or a partial approach, and it cannot grasp what a human person is in full note or in a full, because it is not taking all the dimensions. It is only taking few dimensions. It can only partially approach to the question, who am I? Now, you see, if we take science, if we take philosophers or metaphysicians, you see what science does. Whenever science, when you see in science, they try to see things outer to our own self. They try to see everything outside ourselves. Their searches are always outside. But in philosophy, the mystics, the saints, they try to search for reality inside. So you see, either the search inside only or the search outside only is only piecemeal. So what is needed is a balanced approach where there is a focus on the spirit and also there is a focus on the body. We take body as primary, we forget the spirit. We take spirit as primary and forget the body. So these sort of approaches are called oppressive approaches to the understanding of human person. Let me make it clear to everybody. human person has number of dimensions. If we take only a few number of dimensions and try to grasp what a human person is, we are not doing justice to the understanding of the very the concept of human person. And this sort of approach is partial approach. This approach is not complete, and this will never lead to never lead to even a sort of minimum satisfactory sort of response. In order to have a satisfactory response, what is needed is a balanced approach where there is a focus on, there is an understanding that human personality has numerous dimensions and none of the dimensions are lost, or none of the dimensions are overlooked or ignored. Okay, you see, I said we are a part of mystery. Suppose there may be hundreds of dimensions, there may be hundreds of dimensions, but human mind at the present stage, suppose say we are only knowing about say 15 to 20 dimensions. There may be hundreds. We don't know because we are a mystery. We are a part of that mystery that we are going to solve. So whatever the 20 dimensions that we have got, so we should be honest. We should be true to ourselves in taking all those 20 dimensions in dealing with the concept of what a human person is. If we are not doing that, then we are having an oppressive understanding of human person. So to be clear, if there are 10 dimensions to the understanding of human person, but you are taking only two dimensions to account for human person, so you are having an oppressive understanding of human person. Suppose there are 10 dimensions and you are taking all the 10 dimensions in your understanding of human person, then you are having a holistic view of human person, a total approach, a complete approach to the concept of human person. So this is okay. This is what distinguishes oppressive and liberative understanding of human person. So, if you take the scientists, scientists are one-sided. They are objective. Scientists, when you take the scientists, they are objective. They see only the objective side of reality. So they are sacrificing the spiritual side. So that is a oppressive understanding of human personality. Okay. Now, if you take the mystics, they are more into the understanding of the inner aspects of human person. They are neglecting, they are ignoring the bodily aspect. So that is also an oppressive approach to human person. But an approach where there is a justice done to both the body and the mind as a total system, as a holistic system, there is a better understanding or a holistic understanding of what a human person is. And such sort of understanding is called liberative understanding of human person. So oppressive understanding, there is a sacrifice of certain dimension, but in liberative understanding, all the dimensions are taken note of. None of the dimensions are sacrificed or given away with. So when you are encountering, when you are taking all the dimensions that are available to you, then you are having a liberative understanding of human person. But again, having said this, having a balanced position, equilibrium, excuse me, having a focus on all the dimensions is not that easy. It is very difficult, but it is possible. It is difficult. Touching all the dimensions to account for human person is difficult, but possible, but humanly possible. So that is the understanding of oppressive understanding and liberative understanding, where you take only few dimensions of human person and try to understand who am I. You are having an oppressive understanding of human person. But when we are focusing on all the available dimensions in the understanding of human person, you are having a liberative understanding of human person. Now the question is it possible to have an understanding of human person by taking all the dimensions? Yes, it is difficult, but it is humanly possible. So that is the take on this section. Now, one more thing. The next section, it says Human being today is hungry and poor. Human being today is hungry and poor. I said you earlier also. There are various issues affecting human beings, disease, poverty, hunger, etc. etc. Now, yes, there are problems. Human beings as persons, they do suffer. Okay, why do they suffer? It is because of the fellow human persons. Why there is suffering? Because of the fellow human persons. What is the cause? You see, the planet Earth has everything to fulfill the needs, the basic needs of all the persons who have got life on this planet. The Earth has capacity to feed all, to fulfill the basic needs of all. But there are a selected few who have grasped, who have, say, in the name of, say, power, okay, they have taken into their own count resources that are not theirs actually. They have the resources in their name, but in the Indian context, it is a sort of stealing. If you are having something more than you want, then you are purchasing something which you don't require. Suppose you need 10 rupees only, suppose a small example, it's not a very practical sort of thing, but still an example to understand a thing. Suppose you need 10 rupees, but you have thousands of rupees or 1,000 rupees, but the need is of only 10 rupees. You have 1,000 rupees. There are people who are in need of that 10 rupees, but they don't have. You are not exhausting 990 rupees. You are still there with you. So it is somebody's treasure. 99 people they have should have enjoyed, they should have fulfilled their basic needs the way you fulfilled. But and some human person is denying that right of having the 10 rupees for having the basic needs fulfilled. There lies the human crisis. There lies the human crisis. In in Indian philosophy, there is a saying, uh, there is a there is a talk on purusarthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. You see, artha is also taken as a value. In liberation, you see, purusarthas, there are four purusarthas: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Dharma is the guiding principle. Artha and kama, kama means our actions or our desires, kamana, the desires. Artha means the money, okay, or okay, the basic requirements. Okay. Now, suppose I take an example to make you understandable of what this is. Suppose you are in need of a small car, suppose, or you are you in need of a bicycle. Suppose you are in need of a bicycle for attending your classes. Okay, you had no bicycle and you are greatly in need of a bicycle. Okay, so somehow you could get a bicycle. Okay, fine, things are fine. But the human person, the psychology of the human person is not ending up there. Suppose the cycle that you have is of a low quality or a low brand, and somebody, a friend of yours, has a cycle of a better brand. So a sort of comparison comes, a sort of desire increases. Or somebody, a friend who has come, who has a bike. Now, what is happening is you wanted something, you had something, but once you had something, you are not satisfied with that thing. You want a better version of it. Suppose, say for example, I want 1 lakh, 1 lakh. Urgently, I need 1 lakh. I have got 1 lakh. Suppose say. Soon I get 1 lakh. I feel, oh, I should have got 2 lakhs. Oh, once you get 2 lakhs, I should have got 3 lakhs. So this desire is multiplied. And this desire is multiplying at what? At the cost of the hunger of others. So the point that I want to raise is desire, basic desire, yes, we should have basic desires. But desiring more than you require unnecessarily, people are looting crores of rupees. Will they take the crores of rupees while going out of this world? You don't know the next moment I will be surviving or not. Nobody knows. No, there is no guarantee to life. Anything, anytime, anything may happen. But people are accumulating, 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 accumulating. Okay. So what is happening? At the cost of the hunger, at the cost of the poverty of others. So this is where we fail as a human person. Why they are in poverty? Why they are in hunger? Because of the other few who are not responsive, who are not concerned of the other. There is no empathy at all, even no sympathy at all. There is no transition from I to we. There is no feeling of I to we. If at all, a very well versed, very financially sound person is making a charity or a donation, he wants to have his photograph. Suppose he is donating 1 lakh rupees to somebody, some orphanage. He wants a photograph. And in the evening, he will be posting in the social status. He will be having that photograph in the status of the social media. So that is problematic again because you have a sense of agency. Because people are having a sense of agency, the I factor. As long, suppose you are doing charity, very good. You are doing charity, do the charity, forget that you have done the charity. So that is where we come close to what is called a human person. But you do charity, good thing, fine, very good activity. But you do charity, but you have that agency, the sense of agency that I have done charity. You will be gossiping about among many that I have done charity, I have helped that person. So everything is lost as a human person. You are doing good work, do it, forget about it. If still you have a scope to do it. So there lies the human person. Because whatever you are doing, it is not yours. It is for a temporary period. Something has been with you or is with you. It is not yours. You have come empty handed and you will go empty handed. So that understanding is missing. So that's why the question of who am I is still relevant. Because we have not understood ourselves. We are accumulating. We have not understood the very purpose of life, the very art of living life. Okay. So that is problematic. Okay. I have said you, there is sufficient resources. Resources are sufficient. But what is lacking is the ethics of love, the ethics of care, the ethics of share. You don't want to share. You don't want to care. You don't have an affectionate feeling. You don't want to come out of that quote, I. Okay. You don't want to come out of that. So I is illness. Suppose if you have illness, okay, you substitute, you delete I from that illness. You delete I is illness. I feeling is a ill feeling. I say you. I feeling. I say I. That's a ill feeling. That is egoistic feeling. Suppose you have illness, the first letter I you delete, and in that place you write we. That becomes wellness. So when you transit from I to we, you move from illness to wellness. So there lies the solution. Somehow to reach to the ideal of what a human person is. Did you get my point? Are you understanding me? Anybody please respond. Are you understanding me? Somebody please respond so that I. Huh.
Yes, sir.
Okay, done, fine. So this also you can very comfortably you can say. I feeling is a ill feeling. So if you take out I and substitute we in the place of I, so you move from illness to wellness. So that is lacking because we are lacking in the ideal of caring, we are lacking in the ideal of sharing. Okay. So the next unit talks of shortage of justice, not food. You know this after talking, after delivering, after listening to what I have said in the last 45 minutes or 50 minutes, you might be knowing, you could have come across that there is no shortage of justice. Justice is, sorry. There is no shortage of food. There is no shortage of resources. Everything is there. The planet has everything. to satisfy your needs, but it has nothing to satisfy your greeds. Mahatma Gandhi has said the planet Earth has everything to satisfy your needs, but it cannot satisfy your greeds. Why it cannot satisfy your greeds? Because the greeds have no limit. They go on, they multiply. As I said, the bicycle example, the car example. You wanted a car, you have got a Maruti car, but once we are driving, say 1 year, you say, oh, Maruti car, I should have a better version car. So your problem is not car. Your problem is you are not satisfied with what you are having. People are not contented with what they are having. We should feel contented with whatever we are having. Many things we don't have. Let us not have. But we should be happy with what we have. Because many people they don't have even that. But that feeling is not coming to us. Did you understand this point? There are many things in the world which we don't have. Immaterial. But we have certain things which many people don't have. We should be we think we are fortunate that we are having at least these things. These things many don't have. That understanding is not coming. So even if we are having something, we should be grateful to that force that we are having this, and we should be always be prepared, if at all the time permits, if at all the situation permits, to be friendly, to have a sense of care, to have a sense of share for others, those who are underprivileged, those who are suffering, those who are in hunger, those who are in poverty. So we should come up with that. Okay. Now, there is another good thing that has come. People will think education liberates. Education makes man very polite. Somehow, education means, okay, education means the self understanding. If you take education as a self understanding, education means if it is something which reflects our true nature, being honest. Education means if it means something being honest, true to our own self, yes, education increases our lifestyle, our approach to the world. But in the ordinary sense, when you say somebody has done PhD, oh, he's a very educated man. Somebody you say he's a doctor, oh, highly educated man. You see doctors, you see lawyers. Why should I quote anybody? There is, when the doctors take oath, they take an oath, we should help humanity. And people say doctors are second God on earth. They're the God. They're the divine in the human form. When we go to a doctor, we see him as a God because we are suffering from a disease and he is the man who can take out of suffering. But what is happening? There are cases to suggest when doctors in the want of money, they are having lot of money, they openly or silently steal the kidneys. During Corona, this has happened. They take away the kidneys. You have gone to him as if he is the second God. He is the God on earth. But there is stealing. So did education in him make him a human being or an animal? There are doctors. Why should I say so? Should not say it like this? There are many persons who do not want to clear up the cases, who do not prescribe right medicines also. Because if the right medicine is prescribed, the patient will not come the next day. That is also a psychology. So what are we? Is education really liberating us? Is the power, is the autonomy liberating us? It's a big question mark. So the question that the thing that has been provided here is more power, more autonomy, more wealth one acquires, less human he becomes. More power, autonomy, or wealth one acquires, less human he becomes. Okay. So somebody who is uneducated may be untrained, but somebody who has a training in life, who has training in love, affection, he's a better person than the so-called educated person having a big degrees. Sir, yes, somebody ORC, please. Yes, some query, please. Welcome.
Sir, I think human personality should not be judged by education or uh, education. I think it should be judged by the character and action.
Yes, that is what I am saying also. That
And
is
it
what
should
I'm
not be
saying.
judged by somebody, I mean, it should not be also judged by a post. Who is in whose post, which post.
Yes, yes. Yes, that is the crisis I'm saying. The crisis is we say he is an educated man. The point that I'm saying is we say he's a highly educated man. He's a doctor, he's a lecturer, he's an engineer. So we say he's an educated man. Normally we say. But the education doesn't make sense if he doesn't have a concern for the fellow being. We have treated a doctor as a second god, but doctor is cheating you. So is he a human being? So that is the problem. That is the question I am raising. So as you pointed out, rightly pointed out, it is the character, it is the conduct. After all, the behavioral pattern that counts. You see, there are many yogis also, the so-called yogis. They say there are they're spiritual people, okay, but many spiritual, so-called spiritual men, even in India, they are still in behind the bars. They're behind the bars. We have gone to them as spiritual masters, as teachers to guide our lives. It's not that they don't have knowledge. They have knowledge, but they could not live according to that knowledge. That's the problem. The problem with the human
Like
beings also the same.
implementation.
Ah,
Like implementation.
yes, yes. So you see, as you know, so you become. Okay, the knowledge, if you have some knowledge, but you don't implement, as you say, if you don't live according to your knowledge, then that knowledge is no knowledge. I say, you have the knowledge, okay, you have the knowledge, but you don't implement that knowledge, so that knowledge is no knowledge. I say you have one knowledge, but you act differently. You know this is the right way to do, but you act differently. So that even though you are called as a literate person, a knowledgeous person, but if you are not living according to what you know, that means your knowledge makes no sense. So illiterate, the so-called illiterate, poor, so-called uneducated man in the rural background, working in the fields, having a human emotion, having a love, a concern for the other, who even don't have a proper meal, he is concerned about the poverty, the hunger of the fellow brother who is ready to share his own bread. So that is the real human being, a real human person. That is we are in search for. Yes, somebody has raised his hand. Yes, please. Please.
Sir, what is the difference between knowledge and wisdom?
Yes. Knowledge and wisdom. Yes, very beautiful question. Knowledge, to an extent, is theoretical. Okay, knowledge, when applied to situations in the right sense, is wisdom. Man of wisdom are those who have the ability to transform the knowledge according to the situations, according to the context. Suppose, let me tell you one thing. Suppose we know speaking the truth is a virtue. Speaking truth is a virtue. It's a doctrine from knowledge. Okay, speaking the truth. Okay, it's a value also. Now, a man of wisdom knows how to use this knowledge, how to put this knowledge to practice. Suppose speaking the truth, a knowledgeous man will simply confine himself to that knowledge itself. He doesn't have the ability to apply that knowledge in different contexts. Suppose a thief is after somebody who is carrying some golden ornaments for the marriage of his daughter. He was carrying the ornaments for his daughter. A thief is, okay, chasing him. Okay, now in the dark night, the thief comes to you and asks, "Did you see somebody with a bag moving this side?" But you are a man committed to truth. You're a man of knowledge. So, and you're committed to truth. You say, yes, yes, that man has gone that way. So, what will happen? Maybe he will be murdered. Maybe that bag will be snatched, which carried the ornaments for the marriage of his daughter. But a man of wisdom will never say that. A man of wisdom, he's a truthful man, but he knows how to apply the idea of truth. So in that context, speaking a harder lie, speaking a lie has a greater value than speaking the truth. So a man of wisdom knows what is truth and also knows how to apply truth. A man of wisdom knows what is righteousness and also knows where to apply the principle of righteousness. So this is how we can differentiate a man of knowledge and a man of wisdom. So when I said the example of the joke is the so-called yogis, well, they had knowledge, but they could not transform their knowledge. Okay, they could not live their life according to their knowledge. That's why they are not the man of wisdom. Okay, so this is how we can differentiate. Okay, so
Thank you, sir.
okay, done. One example, let me tell you. Knowledge. Suppose there is a there is a water filled with suppose there is a tank filled with water. Okay, okay, and that water is not used for many days. That water is not used for many days. What will happen? Germs will grow in that water, isn't it? So also it happens in the case of knowledge. Why I'm saying this is in order because you asked this question. That's why I'm saying this example. Knowledge, if you're not using, becomes no knowledge. You see, suppose the water in the tank is compared to knowledge, and you are not applying your knowledge. That means the water is stored in the tank as it is. So the water is getting infected with various germs and becomes unusable. So you have the knowledge, but you don't know or you don't apply the knowledge, that becomes no knowledge at all. Like the way that water becomes unusable. But a man who knows how to use that water, okay, water in the tank, and he knows how to use that water and make that water usable, is a man of wisdom. A man who has knowledge and also has the ability to apply that knowledge to situations, okay, is a man of wisdom. Yes, somebody has raised his hand, please.
Sir, actually, the previous example you gave, I'm
Huh.
having difficulties to agree with.
Which example?
The sir, the stealing part, the thief and the
Huh, huh, huh. Huh, huh.
because sir, according to you, sir, a wisdom person
Huh.
will support or approve a stealing because that is a crime.
No, 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 no. That is not crime. You see,
No,
speaking a
sir.
lie.
I
No,
think
listen.
when it comes to death and life and death, a
Huh.
wisdom person can lie or can approve
That is
any
the
I
thing
mean
I'm
small
saying.
crime.
A man of wisdom will speak a lie in order to prevent a crime. He knows the truth, but if he speaks the truth, he's just a man of knowledge. He has the weapon. You see, you have a gun, but you
Hmm.
don't know where to apply. Because you have a gun, you apply everywhere. It doesn't. It doesn't make you appropriate. A man of wisdom knows he has the gun and he knows where to apply and how to apply. And that sort of man with that training, that skill, those who have, they are the men of wisdom. So in the thief example, if that person might have said the truth because the man of truth, if he has said the truth, maybe that man would have been killed. And injustice could have been meted in the society. Do you want that? So it's a
Because
cardinal. Hmm, hmm.
I think that's a probability because that also cannot I mean might not happen because we are thinking predicting that crime will take place because
Yes,
we might have any
yes,
other
yes,
ways
yes.
to
I
solve
agree.
this problem.
I agree. I agree. There is a probability. But again, if we come to probability, where the probability is more, suppose a thief is moving with a knife, and you think he will be dancing with him. You never. He will be misbehaving with him. Okay.
Yeah, but sir,
So
according to
more
the
probable. It is more
yeah,
probable that there will be a crime. It is more probable. Let's. I
like sir,
go. I
the
go with a.
Ratnakar, he also had weapon in his hand. The
Which one?
Ratnakar.
Which one?
Sir
That man.
Ratnakar.
Uh,
Ratnakar sir, Daku. He
uh,
also had weapon, but he was also, talked or understood, explained by a sadhu.
Okay, maybe you say a different situation wherein this man carrying the bag of jewels or say ornaments, this man approaches that man and he will transform that man from being a thief to a sort of Ratnakar sort of thing to Vyasha. Okay, so
No,
that.
sir.
Hmm.
No, I am actually saying that I cannot uh, suddenly support a crime like a stealing. I mean, before thinking other ways to solve the issue. That's what I'm actually
Now,
saying.
what is the immediate problem? Suppose somebody is very furious, having a knife in his hand, and somebody who is innocently moving with the ornaments meant for his daughter, and you know the truth where that man has gone, and you feel that you should inform that thief that that man is hiding there or man is there. So what do you expect? That man will go and simply say, "Ki, okay, I don't mind. You please go because your daughter's marriage is there. You go. Even though I'm a thief, I'm not concerned." So that sort of
Yes.
thing, do you feel like that will happen?
Yeah. In
More
that
probably,
sudden
let it
and
happen.
emergency situation, you have to take that
Yes,
action.
that is the point I'm making. Be
Okay.
truthful, be truthful, but see the context. Be
Hmm.
truthful to anybody, any. Okay, I'm not approaching with a negative sense. I'm saying approaching truth and its applicability in situations. You know where to apply and where not to apply. There the
Hmm.
wisdom lies. Okay.
Yeah.
You see what happens. Let me, because you have asked this, let me tell you. Something should not be taken in an absolute sense. The values should not be taken in an absolute sense. See what
Yeah.
happened with Bhishma. What happened with Bhishma? Bhishma said he took an oath that I will not become the king. I will be protecting whoever may be the king in the throne of Hastinapur. So it was a pratigya, Bhishma pratigya. He took that as a dharma and in an absolute sense. And what problems occurred, you personally know. Draupadi was openly okay, in the court, Draupadi was misbehaved, but did Bhishma open the mouth? Because
No.
he because he took things very, very, very absolutely. You
Sir, I
see,
think that is the example of knowledge, not wisdom person.
okay, that is the problem. That is the problem. Wisdom, a man. Okay, I don't say Bhishma, at least in that context, as a man of wisdom. He's a man
Yeah.
of knowledge. He is not a
Yeah.
man of wisdom
That
because
makes sense now.
he took that in a absolute sense.
Yes.
You should have the principle of right. You should have the principles in hand, and you should know how to apply the principle, and that makes you a man of wisdom.
Yeah, rightly said, sir.
Okay, that is the position that one. Anyway, it's a
Yeah.
good discussion, and I want my students to be like this. Okay,
Yeah, thank you, sir.
more
Thank you.
like more like Arjuna, more like Arjuna. Okay, isn't it? If the teacher says and the students don't raise questions, then it becomes a dull class. And I appreciate because I am also learning through you because the
Yes, sir.
learning never stops. Okay.
I also, sir, have like open-minded, and
Uh,
I also know one thing that I can learn from anything, anyone.
yes, yes, that should be the spirit,
Small,
and that
big, even a metal or material or anything.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. A person like Shivaji learned from an ant. A person of the stature of Shivaji learned from an ant. The ant was trying, because Shivaji was in the prison, the ant was trying to climb the wall, the tall wall. Okay,
Hmm.
number of times the ant tried to climb, it was falling down. But ultimately, a time came when the ant totally climbed the wall and escaped. So that was a great learning for Shivaji. So Shivaji, a man of that stature, learned from an ant, and we
Yeah,
are
that's
nothing. And we are nothing. Okay, so that's how we should keep our mind open, and that is philosophy is all about, and our
yes.
core as a human person is all about. So thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
Thank you for clearing that, sir.
Thank you. So the point that I was making is more power, more autonomy, more wealth. People are getting less human. That is the point that is
Yeah.
suggested here. That is the point that was to make. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, what I was saying, 1 second. Yes. Now, then another thing that we have got to discuss is philosophical anthropology. What is philosophical anthropology? I said in the beginning itself, the philosophy of human person is called philosophical anthropology. So don't confuse. Philosophical anthropology is nothing but philosophy of human person. And in this unit 2.6, uh, the course, the designers of your course, they want to see how the philosophy of human person or philosophical anthropology is related to other philosophical disciplines. So, what are the other philosophical disciplines? Let us point out. Say, for example, epistemology. Those who have done UG course in philosophy, they might be knowing epistemology means the theory of knowledge, the theory of knowing. And there are various theories, okay, to know. Okay, so here we are talking with human person, and how epistemology will help us in understanding the question, who am I, or what is being a human person. So here epistemology comes to the rescue of the philosophers, say, okay, in the knowing aspect, in the knowing aspect. So human being is the knower, because epistemology is concerned about knowing things. Okay, epistemology is all concerned about knowing things. And you might be knowing that in Indian philosophy they talk of various sources of knowledge like perception, inference, okay, so and so on. So number of sources of knowledge are there, and they contribute to our knowledge system. So epistemology helps us. Okay, in what way? Because as a human person, the theory of knowledge helps us to know the outer, to know the inner. But when you, yesterday I was saying, we cannot really associate the word know when it comes to the inner. When it comes to the inner, after a certain level, we can no more talk of knowing the inner, the self. I mean, it is a realization of the self that we talk in the Indian philosophy. Okay, okay. Because knowing somehow involves your mental faculties, and the mental faculties cannot reach to what we call the spirit or the soul. So epistemology, so here philosophical anthropology means the philosophy of human persons. And other philosophical disciplines, what are they? First of all, let me list, and then we go to them one by one. Epistemology, okay, logic, axiology or ethics, okay, metaphysics, aesthetics, okay, then we can come across hermeneutics, phenomenology. So these are the various areas or various disciplines within philosophy, okay, that are linked with the philosophical anthropology, with the very philosophy of human person, and they will be helping us to understand who am I. So epistemology, I said you, it is a theory of knowledge, and it will help us to know things, outer and inner. When I talk outer, it means our relationship with the other, our relationship with the society, our relationship with the the inanimate things, the objects, our relationship with the nature, with the natural entities. So epistemology, we see human person as a knower. Epistemology, we see human person as a knower. So when you talk of hermeneutics, yesterday I was talking with hermeneutics. Hermeneutics is something, what you say, it is a sort of interpretation. It is sort of interpreting. It is sort of making interpretations to get the human understanding clearer and clearer, better and better. So it is all about making interpretations, okay, with a view that we approach closer and closer to reality, because the reality is so vast, okay, and we can never say that we have come across the whole of reality. And but hermeneutics, with as a discipline within philosophy, would help us to revise our standards, revise our presuppositions, revise our methodology, in order to have a better picture of reality. a reality, a picture of reality getting dated without getting outdated. The picture of reality that we carried 100 years ago, that is not the same picture of reality that we have today. Maybe from social science, maybe from science or natural science, whatever it may be. The picture of reality is changing because with time, our interpretations are changing. Our interpretations are taking new shapes. Okay, so hermeneutics helps us to make interpretations, better interpretations, to have our understanding to go on in a better way and to come nearer and nearer to reality. So this is the idea of hermeneutics, and this is how it is helping us as a human person. So logic, again we come across logic as a field within philosophy. How logic helps? Logic helps us to make valid arguments, consistent statements, coherent statements. It helps us where we have gone wrong in the art of reasoning, in the art of making an argument. Suppose we are constructing an argument where we have gone wrong in the very construction of the argument. Are you are we preparing an argument, okay, in a valid manner or not? So that it guides. So it guides our valid thinking. It helps us to think validly. It is not that suppose you say I'm suppose you say I'm if I say I'm hungry just now, and a moment later and I say I'm not hungry. So the version contradicts. I'm contradicting myself. If I say something like this, if I say life is possible and impossible on the planet Mars. So I'm saying something contradictory, which is not logically acceptable. It is self-contradictory. So logic inspects whatever arguments that you make, whatever statements that you make, are they consistent? Are they coherent? Are they are they acceptable? Or they, or whether they are absurd, or whether they are incoherent. So logic helps us to think validly. Logic helps us to argue validly. Logic helps us to speak validly, because any inconsistency in the process of argumentation, in the process of framing an argument, or in the process of reasoning, will fail us in our journey of understanding who am I. What does it mean? Logic is a tool. I say logic is a tool. It's an instrument. In the mental exercise, in the entire exercise, a philosophical exercise, we take logic as a tool to make, to think, to argue validly, consistently, and coherently. That's how logic helps us. Or logic helps us means logic helps philosophical anthropology, or the philosophy of human person in understanding or having a response to the question, who am I? Then we come to metaphysics. What is metaphysics? Metaphysics, as the name says, meta means something beyond. Meta means something beyond. So metaphysics means something beyond physics. Something beyond physics means something that is beyond our mental faculties, mental reasoning. That is beyond something that is beyond our mind. Did you get my point? Metaphysics means something that is beyond our comprehension, beyond our knowledge. What is within our knowledge? That is defined by physics, the natural science. Metaphysics means something beyond, going beyond the limits of knowledge. Yes, somebody has raised reason. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Sir, how can we understand something beyond mind with our mind? Sir, it
Yes,
feels like very
very,
tricky statement.
yes, very good. Very good. That's why I said you in the beginning itself. When you attach knowledge we attach to physics, to the natural world, to the objective world. I have said you just 5 minutes back that when we go inside to a particular level, to a certain level, we can apply mind. And beyond that, mind cannot function. When it comes to the spirit, when it comes to the inner, the spirit, the soul, mind, your mental exercise doesn't work there. Mind cannot go there. And there, and that defines the limits of your mind, and that defines the limits of reason. And there is a need of another faculty, another discipline called metaphysics, where recourse is given to vision. Recourse is given to a sort of vision, a sort of darshana, a sort of speculation, a sort of realization in the Vedantic sense. They say we cannot know the self, we can well realize the self. That's why when defining the self, the Vedantins take a negative approach.
Sir,
In defining self,
speculation means?
speculation means something you speculate. Speculate means, suppose, something that is there. You don't know whether it is there or not, but you assume that it is there. It may be there. Okay, it may be there. So speculation. So see, speculation is a word that means you are not sure. You are not sure, but still feel that something of such a sort may be there. You don't know. You have never seen. Your mind has not reached there, but you still speculate. So God is a matter of speculation. Maybe you can say. We feel. You see. Let me tell you one thing very beautifully. You have asked this. You might have heard of Stephen Hawking. Anybody? Stephen Hawking.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the man. He's now no more. Recently he died.
Yeah.
It, the greatest scientist after Einstein. Okay,
Hmm.
he said he wanted to explain everything out there in the world in purely physical, in purely mechanical, in purely objective terms. Please, can you please put off your microphone, because that would yes. So Stephen Hawking wanted to give a physical explanation, objective explanation, the mental explanation, a scientific explanation to the working of the universe. And he proceeded. And there is a very famous book by Stephen Hawking called A Brief History of Time. In the concluding paragraph, he said, in spite of my best efforts to describe the entire working of the universe in purely physical terms, in mechanical terms, in scientific terms, I have failed to do so. He said, I have failed to do so without assuming something something metaphysical at the edge of the universe. You see, that is speculation. He wanted to do everything in physical terms, explain everything in physical terms, but he could not do so. At the end, he said, I'm now prepared to bow down to say that many equations in physics will remain unsolved without assuming that some force, a metaphysical force, an unknown, unseen force, unless and until I assume, many equations will remain unsolved. So this is not from physics. This is from metaphysics. It's the vision. It's a speculation. It's a going beyond the mind. Mind is not Mind has not come across something staying at the edge of the universe. It is just an assumption, a sort of speculation, a sort of presupposition in order to make the scientific equations workable. So that is metaphysics, where your mind, your reason fails to go beyond. There comes the area of metaphysics, going beyond the mind. Okay, going beyond the mind. Okay, now ethics means axiology or ethics. In ethics, what you do, you judge what is right, what is wrong, what are the actions that you need to do, what are the actions that are prohibited. So these ethics, study of ethics, that also help you to shape out to be a human person. Now you may ask how metaphysics will shape out a human person. So metaphysics will shape a human person because if you take the Vedantic tradition, even the scientific tradition, people have come up with some force that is making everything workable. And if you come up with a Vedantic tradition, they speak of a realization, a sort of self realization that can elevate you to the level of the Paramatman. So these sort of realizations, they are under the scope of metaphysics, and it is only when we take in metaphysics, our study on the question who am I will not be complete if we confine ourselves to the mind. In order to make a complete answer, we have to transcend the mind and land up even in the area of metaphysics. Okay, so that is how metaphysics also useful. Now ethics, I said you what to do, what not to do. We know that. We know that. We have the standards. We have the morals. That's what here you can write. A man of knowledge knows simply what to do, what not to do. But a man of wisdom knows how to do, when to do, and where to do, and what. What to do, he knows the context. He understands the context. He applies the standards according to the context, the situation. So that is a man of wisdom. So ethics, there we get. And then we have theology. Theology means a science of God. Theology is science of God. So God science is also important because we are here trying to understand the origin, the source. We are also trying to understand the goal. So some sort of understanding of God, it is believed, because in I we'll be discussing in next class tomorrow. Okay, how God also comes in our interpersonal relationship, how God, the picture of God enters, and how it helps the well-being of the human person. Okay, so theology also helps, the God science also helps. Then one more area is aesthetics. Aesthetics is science of beauty. Aesthetics is the science of beauty. Beauty means, you should not say somebody is looking handsome or somebody is looking beautiful. That is not beauty. Beauty means how good you are at heart, how loving personality you are. Okay, that defines beauty. That is aesthetics. When you say that aesthetics is the science of beauty, well, it implies, it has it within its purview the physical beauty, but more important is the inner beauty. How beautiful is your inner self is, how loving you are, how honest you are, how much committed you are to a relationship. Okay, maybe the relationship, maybe friendship, maybe a student teacher relationship, how much committed you are. So there, that defines your beauty as a human person. That defines the beauty of a human person. How good at heart you are, how loving you are at heart. So that defines the science of beauty or aesthetics, and that will also help us in the understanding of the question, who am I, or understanding the ideal of the human person. Now we move on to just 1 minute. Then we move to another section within this unit, which is titled as anthropology in general, or general anthropology, or it is also called as social anthropology or cultural anthropology. And its difference from philosophical anthropology. You see, philosophical anthropology means, I said you from the beginning, the first class itself, philosophical anthropology is nothing but philosophy of human person. Anthropology, I said you anthropo, that means human. Okay, and logy means science, the science of human being. So philosophy of human science. So philosophical anthropology is the philosophy of human person. Okay, so how the philosophy of human person is related to uh, the general anthropology, or the social, or general anthropology is also called as the social anthropology or the cultural anthropology. Now to start with, in general anthropology or the social or cultural anthropology, what are the questions? And this is one of the questions within the module which you have to answer. Okay, What are the questions in general anthropology? How to define what are Homo sapiens? Homo sapiens refers to, it is a scientific name. Homo sapiens is the scientific name of human beings. What defines Homo sapiens? Or who are the ancestors of the human species or the Homo sapiens? How to number one, anthropological questions. I mean, the general anthropological questions. Philosophical anthropological questions that you know. Who am I? What is my source? What is my goal? What is my purpose? These are all philosophical anthropology questions. Now, the questions in general anthropology are, who are Homo sapiens? The scientific name of human beings. Who are the ancestors of Homo sapiens? What is the physical nature? What is the physical characteristics of the Homo sapiens? How do, what is the behavioral pattern? How do the Homo sapiens behave? Why there is variation of Homo sapiens from region to region? Some are dark, some are white skinned. Okay, okay. So some are medium complexioned. So why there is difference? And it also raises questions on the evolution of human species or the Homo sapiens, and also the variation in the social organization and their cultures. You see, Homo sapiens are there, but the social organization, the way people are organized, that differ from culture to culture. So this is a question. These are the questions within social anthropology. Sorry, I mean social or cultural anthropology or general anthropology. Okay. So it's a study on humanity. It's a study of humanity. Okay. Now, so two sorts of questions. Philosophical anthropology questions. I said you. I was talking about those since the beginning. Now the questions in general anthropology, I speak out again. What do you mean by, or what is the definition of Homo sapiens? Who are the ancestors of Homo sapiens? What are the physical characteristics of Homo sapiens? What is the behavioral structure or the behavioral pattern of the Homo sapiens? Why there is, or say, what is the evolutionary pattern of the Homo sapiens? Why the Homo sapiens in different geographical regions vary, okay, in their shape, structure, complexion, okay, and how do the Homo sapiens organize into groups, and why the grouping pattern, the organization differ from culture to culture, from society to society, and why there are cultural differences between one society and other society. We are all human beings, but the societies differ in cultures. Okay, even within India, we have we have a multivaried culture. Okay, so these are the questions in social anthropology or cultural anthropology, or we say general anthropology. Now, within um, general anthropology or the what we call the general anthropology, we have certain divisions. We have certain divisions. Mostly, as I said, more close. Okay, when you talk of general anthropology, more close it comes. What it comes is social anthropology or cultural anthropology. But still, if we categorize general anthropology, we can say one is social or cultural anthropology, second is archaeology, we can talk of linguistic anthropology and biological anthropology. Roughly, we may say general anthropology means cultural anthropology, roughly speaking. But cultural anthropology is just a part, is a subdivision within the general anthropology. Okay. But roughly speaking, when you talk of general anthropology, we may mean it is social anthropology or cultural anthropology. But when we talk of the divisions within general anthropology, social anthropology or cultural anthropology comes as one of the subdivisions, apart from linguistic anthropology, archaeology, and biological anthropology. So now you see, with time, the societies have changed, the behavioral patterns have changed. The societies in which we live today, they are not the same societies that were there in this land, the same land. The societies have changed, the cultural patterns have changed. So, why this change is coming? Because of the theories are changing. Because as we remember that nothing is more practical than a good theory, because we are coming up with new and new theories, and maybe these theories having implication, and the patterns are also, the social patterns are also changing. Okay, one thing, just a minute. Okay, are also changing. Okay, I was talking about four classes of anthropology. So, what is this biological anthropology? I repeat, let me tell you, within anthropology, we have four subdivisions: social or cultural anthropology, archaeology, then what I said, linguistic anthropology, and biological anthropology. So, to start with, let us start with biological anthropology. What is biological anthropology? Biological anthropology deals with the human population. It deals with the human population in different regions. Okay, what is the population? What is the demography in different regions? Then biological anthropology also discusses about the evolution of the human species, how they evolved, the present form of human species, how they evolved from the ancestors. Because I was saying you, it is concerned, and general anthropology is concerned about the ancestors. Now, biological anthropology is focusing by taking the ancestors, it is trying to come down to the present level as to how the human species has evolved. It talks of the ancestors. Okay, it also discusses about why there are certain physical variations. You see, we are Homo sapiens, but you take the people in a certain context, you take the people in different context. You have various, you have varieties of variations. You have different variations, maybe physical variations. I was saying just now, the people belonging to Africa and the people belonging to England, or people belonging to United States and the people belonging to India. If you take these geographical setups, there are number of variations, physical, I say mostly physical variations. Okay, so this is biological anthropology makes a study of all this. And the human ecology. Human ecology means how the human beings are linked with nature, how human beings respond to nature, what is their culture. You see, as I was saying, more powerful, more literate a human being becomes, okay, less human he becomes somewhere in the material that is provided to. Okay, you take the tribals, you take the tribals for instance, the level of education is low, but they are the really educated people, I say you, because they are too much connected with nature. They worship nature, they worship the natural forces, they are so much concerned about the environment. They have a clear understanding that if we are going to harm nature, nature will harm you it will bring in dire consequences, very bad consequences. So who is literate? We people, in the name of environmental protection, we organize seminars, and in the same seminar we use plastics. In the same seminar we cut animals, we serve food, okay, chicken, mutton, and all that. So we are talking about protecting the environment, we are but still using plastics. But look at the tribals. They are connected with nature. They are connected with water. They're connected with land. They're connected with the flora, the fauna. Everything they are connected. So closely connected. They respect nature. They worship trees. So that is human ecology. How the people in different lands are connected with the natural forces. So that is the study, human ecology, and that comes within the sphere of biological anthropology. Now, within social and cultural anthropology, what we study what is the culture, what is the behavioral pattern, how the people behave What is the structure of the element of mutual relationship? What sort of structure, family structure they have? What sort of social structure they carry? What, how rich is their arts, crafts, traditions, literature? Okay, how do they excel in, say, various crafts, say even the fields of painting, dancing, singing? How elevated they are, how culturally strong they are, what sort of literature they have produced. So these all define the cultural or the social anthropology. Okay, now we come to archaeology. What is archaeology? So archaeology is again defining the human person. You see, they are not they are not delinking the human person at present with the human person in the past. Okay, what has happened in history, anthropology is not forgetting. Anthropology is trying to make out excavations, the archaeology department. It is making excavations to unfurl the history, to unfurl what is there buried under the ground. You see, because of the archaeology department, we could know that prior to the Vedic age, there was a age called Indus Valley civilization. It was a civilization because it had a very good planning system. It had a very good drainage system. So that could be earthed because of the archaeology department. And they could connect how these people were, what were the styles, what were the patterns, what were the behavioral patterns they exhibited. So that is also so important in understanding a human person. Not just we focus on the present, but the archaeology department, they are focusing even on the, the past. They carry on excavations to relate the present human with the past. In the process, we are also trying to find our ancestors. And you see, whatever artifacts they get, they make a carbon dating. Carbon dating means it's a date. It's a technique for deciding what is the age of the particular thing. Suppose you get a teeth of some animal. Suppose in the excavation you find a teeth of some animal. Now from the teeth of the animal they will identify. So it has gone, teeth means it will not remain white or something like it has gone to carbon. But they will say this is the teeth, and basing on that, they will decide what sort of animal could have been. They will decide that this is the sort of thing that has come down to us. So carbon dating, the archaeologists do, and they that decide our history. So this is how the archaeology department is also helping us in our endeavor to the question, who am I? Now the language. So linguistic anthropology. You see, linguistic anthropology. The sort of language that you use that defines your culture. Nothing is required. Look at a man. What sort of language that he uses? It is not Hindi or Marathi or Telugu or English. The point I'm trying to make is how sweet is his language, how connected his language is. Is a his language decides whether he's a ruffian or whether he's a man of love, whether he's a man so adorable, so honest, so decent, so simple. Okay. So the language will tell you what sort of human person you are. It is not required. Like the way I say you, what's an example may not be a best example, but maybe an example. In order to know what is the nature of your blood, a drop of blood will decide the nature of your blood. I don't require the entire blood to decide what sort of blood you have. A drop of blood will decide what sort of blood you have. The same way, it is not necessary where you live, where you come from, just one's language. From one's language, you can decide, you can know at least what sort of person he might be. So, language also defines indirectly or directly one's habits, one's taste, one's culture, and also help us in understanding the very concept of human person. What sort of person he is as a person, what sort of person he is. And it is also said, the anthropologists say that uh, there is, you see, brain is also evolving. The anthropologists say that the brain is also evolving. Even in the highest form, you see, we say human beings are the highest form in the process of evolution. Now the evolution has not stopped. I tell you, we say human beings are in the last stage of evolution, but the evolution has not stopped. The brain is evolving. The brain is evolving. And the linguistic anthropologists are saying that certain parts in the brain are developing, they are getting refinements that deal with language, the sweetness in language. Okay, so there is an evolution in the brain also. So the linguistic anthropologists are concerned with the language, they focus on the language, and they say, as is your language, so is your culture. As is your language, so is your human person. So that's how linguistic anthropology is also helping us to understand the very idea of what a human person is, or the question, who am I? Now, anthropology as a discipline, again, general anthropology, when you say anthropology, I say it is a subject not original to itself, because there are many areas which anthropology carries with itself and gives a good shape to it, because it takes things from, say the ancient history, it takes things from archaeology, it takes things from social science, it takes things from, say, the antics, it takes things from the historical facts, it also takes things from genetic engineering. So number of things it takes into account and tries to bring in together to give a holistic explanation to the science of human person. And we are more interested in the philosophy of human person. That's why the questions that are raised in philosophical anthropology are different from the questions that are raised in what, general anthropology. And what are the questions raised in general anthropology? I have already listed. So in the exam you may be asked, what are the questions raised in general anthropology? These are the questions. And what are the questions raised in philosophical anthropology? Those are the questions we have been dealing since yesterday. Okay, now, so we go to another portion, that is basic trends in the other unit. It says um, basic trends in general anthropology. What are the trends? As I said, you, anthropology is a discipline where it takes into account various disciplines. Earlier in the day, I was saying that our approach to the idea of human person should be holistic. If we have 10 known dimensions, we have a focus only on 2 dimensions, our account will be partial. Our account will be partial. It would not be liberative. But if we take all the 10 dimensions, all the 10 known dimensions to define what a human person is, that sort of definition would be a liberative definition or a liberative understanding of a human person. So anthropology is all about a liberative understanding of human person, because it wants to arrive at a holistic uh, holistic, what you say, holistic idea or holistic concept involving all the dimensions. That's why it doesn't let any discipline or area to go loose, and that's why it takes all the trends, all the changes across different disciplines, and the factors that are influencing the trends in different disciplines, they brings together, and it shapes its own trend, where we see a sort of holism. Because if you have 10 known dimensions, excuse me, 1 minute, something has happened. If we know 10 dimensions, all the 10 dimensions are accounted for, taken into account to define what a human person is, then you are committed to a holistic response to the question, who am I? Or you are going for a holistic definition of understanding the human person. So in the process, as I said, general anthropology deals with the biological section, it deals with the language, It deals with the ancient artifacts by taking the recourse to archaeology. So it is having a holistic trend. Why it is having a holistic trend? Because it wants to know what a human culture is, what a human culture is, and what are the standpoints, and what, or say, what is the basis to the origin, the very origin of the human culture, and the very status of the human culture, and the progress of the human culture. If at all it has to end, what would be the end of human culture would be. So all these facets, this general anthropology takes into account. Okay, so I have already spoken of the biological anthropology. I have spoken of the linguistic anthropology. Okay, one thing that comes more important in all this is, when we are talking of a particular culture, we should take things from that very particular culture, because the evolution of that culture is due to certain elements or factors affecting that culture. If I interpret or if I judge one culture from the standpoint of another culture, that then it would be a mess of affairs. We cannot be having a right reach in understanding that culture, because every culture has its own perspective. If I want to judge you, I have to judge you from your perspective. If I judge you from my perspective, that judgment would be wrong. So general anthropology ensures that whenever you are trying to understand a culture, enter that culture, be one with the culture. I say be one with the culture, because externally you can just know about the culture, but if you enter a culture and try to be a part of the culture as far as possible, you can grasp the culture as close as possible, and that would help. Okay, now, having said this, what, we cannot, should not judge one culture from a different culture. In order to understand a culture, we have to enter that culture, see that culture, the evolution of the culture. Okay, and that gives a better understanding of that culture. And it should be noted that no culture is, or no culture or no race is inferior or superior. It's a culture, it's a culture. We should not say that's a superior culture. People say we are white men, we are having a superior race, we are men of a superior race. No, that should not be the case. General anthropology denies this sort of approach, because we are not concerned about beauty or strength. We are not concerned about external beauty or strength. We are concerned about the inner purity. We are concerned about the inner strength. We are concerned about the moral strength. That's why cultures should be seen in their own perspective, and we should not say this culture is a poor culture, this culture is a rich culture or a superior culture. Cultures are cultures, they have variations, no doubt. There are variations. What patterns, patterns that are there in a culture, that they are specific to that culture, try to understand the culture from their perspectives. So culture is a culture. We should not say this is a good culture, or say this is a superior culture. Good culture is something different. This is a superior culture, this is an inferior culture. We should not say this. Rather, we should say culture are relative to one another. Cultures are relative to one another. Okay. Suppose I say a body is moving with 60 kilometers speed. Suppose it is moving at a speed of 60 kilometers per hour. Another bus is moving at a rate of 40 kilometers per hour. So when I compare these two buses, I say the speed of the bus, okay, is relative to the speed of that bus. Suppose something like this. How to explain this? Suppose you are sitting in a bus which is moving at a rate of 40 kilometers per hour. Suppose another bus crosses you at a 60 kilometers per hour. Okay. Now it will appear to you as if that bus is moving at a rate of 20 kilometers per hour, because already you are covered 40 kilometers per hour. That is relativity. That is called relativity. Okay. So cultures are also relative to one another. Cultures are only are relative to one another. Okay, but we should not say they are superior or inferior. Well, that bus was going at a speed of 60 kilometers per hour. So it is relatively 20 kilometers per hour, relatively faster. It is relatively faster than me. That's how we can say. But we should not say that is superior, this is inferior. We should not say. So cultures are cultures. We should not say them to be inferior or superior. We should say cultures are relative to one another. In saying that cultures are relative to one another, we are trying to connect one culture with the other. When you say this is superior, this is inferior, we are disconnecting cultures. That should be given away. We should not do that. If you do that, then the very idea of reaching at a human person becomes, we cannot reach it. We only can say cultures are relative, and when you say cultures are relative to one another, we can interconnect the cultures. We can interconnect the connection. Suppose I say that bus is 60 kilometers, that is superior bus, ours is the inferior bus. So there is no connectivity between the buses. But if I say that the other bus is 20 kilometers per hour, relatively having a greater speed, so that in saying this, I am connecting my own bus moving at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. So I'm saying that bus is relatively 20 kilometers per hour in a greater speed. That means I am connecting my own bus with that bus. So when you say cultures are relative to one another, we find a connectivity between the cultures. But if we say they are superior or inferior, we are disconnecting, and that is not the ideal, and that is not the way in our motto of defining who am I or what a human person is. Okay. Okay. So towards the end, let us distinguish between, oh, 5 7 minutes are there. Distinguish between, we have talked about philosophical anthropology, we have talked about general anthropology. The questions of philosophical anthropology, you know, the questions of general anthropology also, you know, but the differences, you see the differences in the questions. I'm not repeating the questions because I have already repeated 4 5 times. Okay. And the questions of philosophical anthropology from the beginning, the questions are different. That's how we differentiate philosophical anthropology and general anthropology. But when we come to philosophical anthropology, it is more theoretical. It is, when you come to philosophical anthropology, it is theoretical. That's why Chesterton, he says, he's a more a theoretical person. He says nothing is more practical than a good theory. So we are confined to theory. Philosophers are confined to theory. So when you talk of philosophical anthropology, we are confined with theory making. But when you talk of general anthropology, they are concerned with the empirical studies. They are concerned with the empirical studies, means studies empirically means doing experiments, doing field studies, okay, laboratory work, laboratory research, looking into the actual behavioral patterns in different societies they visit. So they have to do a lot of practical work. There is a practical research. There is a lot of observation. There is a lot of experimentation. There is a lot of experience to the situations. But when you talk of philosophical anthropology, it is theory making. It is theory making. It is enriching theory. You are trying to enrich your theories. There is no field study in philosophical anthropology. There is no empirical research in philosophical anthropology. There is no experiment in philosophical anthropology. But all these things, field study, experimental research, okay, experiences, making observations, they are all there in general anthropology. But these are not there in philosophical anthropology. Philosophical anthropology is just concerned with theory making, It doesn't have empirical research. It doesn't have field study. Okay. So philosophical anthropology, it critically wants to understand human person theoretically, and it raises issues like love, friendship, autonomy or freedom, life, the purpose of life, life after death. So these are the issues that we deal in connection with the question, who am I, or the ideal of human person. So this is how we distinguish philosophical anthropology from general anthropology. So general anthropology is more concerned with empirical research. It is concerned with experiences. It is concerned with experiments. It is concerned with observations. It is concerned with field studies. It is concerned with visiting different places, having different cultures to make a collection of data, to analyze the data, to practically see what is happening, why there is such variation. But that sort of research, that sort of empirical finding is not there in philosophical anthropology. We are just concerned with the theoretical approach to the understanding of who am I. But still, general anthropology gives lot of food for thought in philosophical anthropology. In philosophical anthropology means in the philosophy of human person. The statistics, the data, the variations, the research, okay, the experimental findings of the general anthropology gives lot of food for thought, gives lot of things for to think, gives lot of things to think, to frame a better and better theory in the arena of philosophical anthropology. Okay, so this is all I think. Um, Still in philosophy anthropology, the mystery hangs on, the mystery of a human person hangs on, because we are a part of the mystery that we are trying to solve. Okay, so this is how we can deal with this second unit. We can take some questions if you have. 5 more minutes are there, I think. 5 6 minutes are there. If you have some queries, you can raise. um, I have said with you my phone number. Okay, now if you are really interested in philosophy, I think we have I have given my phone number. You can discuss with me whatever issues that you may have, to the best possible, the way that is possible for me. Okay, I'll try my best. If at all you have some queries, you can call me any day after 9 p.m. Okay, sometimes I may not lift the phone, but I will respond. I'll definitely call back. Okay, so this is how we can carry on. One more thing that I wish to say, that we have a group called Philosophy Family. We have during the Corona period, we have created a group called Philosophy Family. Okay, somebody has said phone number. Yes, my phone number again is 99371 99371 88631. 99371 88631. This is my phone number. So what I was saying is, we have created a group called Philosophy Family, wherein around some technical issue, 1 minute, huh? Around 1500 philosophers, thinkers, students throughout the nation, and also from outside, they are connected. We have different groups because of 256 being the maximum in the WhatsApp group. We have 6 to 7 groups like that. Around 1500 people we have. Every Sunday evening at 6:30 p.m., we carry on philosophical debates. We call some persons anyway in Odisha, outside Odisha, even outside the nation. People come, they deliver talks. Important persons, very people with high repute, they have come and delivered talks, and we carry on discussions. The objective is to learn. Okay, so if anybody is interested for learning, just outside the box thinking, not just confined to MA philosophy. Okay, outside the box thinking if they want. Not necessary they may attend any Sunday. It is on Sunday, 6 to 6:30 to 8. Okay, if anybody wants, I can add them in the group so that they can attend the webinars. It's an online mode. They can attend the webinars. They can listen to talks from beautiful persons. Okay, good lectures. They can participate in the discussions. So this is how we can keep philosophy alive and our search for a human person alive. Okay, so anybody who is interested for getting added up in philosophy family group, he or she may directly send a message stating the phone number. Okay. Oh well, the phone number is there, but still you write the phone number, your name, so that I can connect you with that group. Okay. Thank you. Oh, this is all for this. So even the organizers might be waiting for 6 o'clock. Well, it is six, nearly 6 or 1 minute more. Any query from your side, you are welcome. I'll wait for half minute or 1 minute, then we can wind up. I think um, if you are attentive to my classes, I try my best to be as precise and clear. If you are giving your 100% attention to what I say, I think just a brief look into the material would revise everything. It will come to your mind, and I say that you can do well. But the only thing is, are you listening to me? Okay, with a steady mind, with a right mindfulness. That's the question. If you are listening to me, definitely, I think you can do. You can even write. I say, if I ask you, those who have listened to me carefully today, if I ask somebody to write a few pages, say 5, 7 pages, they can write. I think. Well, I don't know, but I hope that those who are listening carefully, okay, they can uh, write and they can do well. Yes. I once again say, please, because I am not having the recording to this, I have shared my phone number. Anybody who wants to get themselves added in philosophy family group, please WhatsApp me in the number I have said. I will add you tonight. Okay, I will add you tonight itself. Okay, thank you so much. So meet you tomorrow with the third unit. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. Meet you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.